Hello! So today I'm going to talk about my latest tattoos. I got 4 tattoos lately, in this month. I got 2 on, the 3rd of August, and then other 2 was on the 18th. So they are still healing. But yeah, so I'm gonna start. Oh, I'm gonna start with like the small ones. I got some on my foot. I don't know if you can see, but I have 3 stars here, and I have these drumsticks. So what do they mean? These stars, they are kind of like a matching tattoo with one of my aunts. She, like, and I'm wondering, like, what about the other aunts? Like, they don't want tattoos, so it is just me and her. She's very dear to me, and she has this tattoo. I think she got it when she turned 18 or something. And like now we're connected. It's kind of representative of her, and I'm not a stranger to kind of like having these tattoos. I have my parents and grandparents signatures on me, and I have other things that also have like some meaning. Now the drumsticks is for my friend Rebecca, who passed away in May. I have recorded a video when the wound was still very fresh, and she was a bunch of things. One of them was a drummer, and she was buried holding her drumsticks. So like that's kind of like, this one is for her. And yeah, I always have a little piece of her with me now. Now talking about the bigger ones. Oh yeah, also I got this one retouched. The rose on my thumb. You see that it is like there's no longer anything faded, so happy about this. And then the other one I got, the bigger ones, I got, can I show this? So as you can see, it's a woman covering her ears, a woman with her mouth covered, and a woman with her eyes covered. So like that's that maxim, like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, how like the little monkeys, they're doing pretty much that. So the idea for these was one of those things that, like, because sometimes like you think of an idea and then like it acquires meaning. This was kind of like the other way around. I kind of had this moment where I was like, I already knew about this from like years back. And I mean, it's a really popular image, like that imagery of the 3 monkeys. But I kind of like realized, like, oh, I'm living my life like this, like this. I kind of like gave a name to like something that was already kind of like happening, kind of like this transformation. Also, I want to acknowledge that like this tree, it can also, a lot of people associate it with like turning a blind eye to evil and to corruption. This is not what I mean at all. Like, I'm still going to be alert to these things. It's just that well, basically, I kind of like, I'm realizing that distancing myself from things kind of like brings me peace. Kind of like I don't have to be on top of like every situation, every story, particularly because it's very disheartening. So I'm not ignoring things, but I am kind of like taking a step back, and so these things don't fester. Because if you kind of like, you open yourself up to like evil, as you're saying, and in this case, evil can be like many things. It can be a representative of your vices, it can be a representative of your shortcomings, of like the things you struggle with. And I pretty much find that kind of like, if I remove myself from the situation, things turn out, pretty well for me, better than they would have otherwise. So that's pretty much this. I kind of like realized, like, oh, I've been, creating this distance, because I don't want to speak evil, most of all, and this is hard because sometimes like things happen and they get like a kind of like a reaction out of you, and then it's kind of hard for you to just remove yourself from the situation. But this is like an exercise that I'm playing. Also, kind of like not hearing or seeing. It has to do, because things, this is something that goes back to religion, because I grew up Christian, and notion that we had is that you shouldn't really participate in these situations. Like, people are gonna make their choices, they're going to do whatever, but you don't have to be kind of like complacent. You don't have to be there. You have sometimes it's better for you to remove yourself from the situation. So yeah, so this is the tattoo. It kind of like, it has like this red thread. This thread, it comes from like those is it the plates, the ones that kind of like they're control future in Greek mythology. And basically, like, one of the images I have, the reference, it had kind of like a thread, like with all 3 of them. So we decided that it was going to be reminiscent of that, because also like the 3 are connected. Now for my other tattoo. This one, it's still healing. You can see that it started peeling off, and you have like a woman with a sword and wings, and this woman here with you know, the scales. So this one basically means so this woman here, the scales, she represents order, and this one with the sword represents progress. Order and progress is Brazil's motto. So it is kind of like a tattoo. This kind of like homage to my country, but it is more because of like what it means. So I have here like this motto. It comes from Auguste Comte, like, you know, like the mantra for positivism, and you know, you have it here. Where we go? Okay, so l'amour pour principe et l'ordre pour base, le progrès pour but. Which translates to love as a principle and order as a basis, progress as the goal. And you know, as I said, positivism, Auguste Comte. And this was chosen, we dropped the love, but like this was chosen for, you know, our flag. And I don't like to say that I am a positivist, but you know, like there are some things, you know, like there that I'm like, you know, this makes sense. Also, because this became a motto. It was like 4 days after the proclamation of the Republic. So Brazil won its independence back in 1822, but it was still a monarchy. It was only in 1889 that, you know, finally there was the proclamation of the Republic, and we became a republic. Yeah, so we have two celebratory, you know, dates. You have Independence Day, that is on September 7th, and you have the Proclamation Republic, which is in November 15th. So, you know, I'm happy that we have two holidays. But I think that historically I've been really rushed person. You know, like I want things to change, and I want them to change now. I think this also has to do with youth. I think the older I get, the more patient I become with, you know, certain things, and that is kind of like what I want for myself. You know, like I want to kind of like to be able to, I want to have patience. I want to have more patience, and sometimes I don't. So, you know, like order, as they said here, order is the base, and you know, progress is the goal. So you have to kind of like have this orderly transition power. I still like struggle with this notion sometimes, to be completely honest. I just want progress, and I want progress now, and I want us to just like really bulldoze like our way through things, but that's just not how things work. And sometimes like you take some steps back before you can kind of like move forward, and this is kind of like a notion that I am embracing, that we need order. And because also sometimes I can be kind of like chaotic, you know, the way I do things, the way that I kind of like carry myself. So there's that. But you know, like so yeah, so I really like this is the motto, and this is something that I've been kind of like embracing, you know, increasingly more. And also it kind of like getting to a point where I'm like, okay, this reflects better on, you know, the whole situation if we kind of like move orderly. It's still something, as I said, that I struggle sometimes. I just want to bulldoze through things, but that is just not how things work. And you know, for better or for worse, that's the reality. So as I said, you know, I want us to grow. I want to grow on a personal level, but I also want, you know, as a society to grow and to develop and, you know, move on, you know, move forward. So in conclusion, yeah, let me just show you better, show it closer, so you can see, you know, like these are. I have wings, just kind of like this. Also, like I really like the angle. It's kind of like you're looking up, you know, up, and you have like, you know, the sun. But yeah, so I wanted a red element to work with the red element on the side. And as I said, I'm embracing order more, and then this is kind of like it is the outcome of like many years of me struggling with the way that things, you know, are, the way that things work. And I'm finally at a point, as I said, that I'm like, you know what, we need order to kind of like to move along. Otherwise everything becomes chaotic, and not in a good way. You know, we lose track of what is important. And also, like, it doesn't really matter whether I want, you know, things to kind of like move faster, because we're talking about the entirety of the society versus me. So, you know, I'm not gonna win this fight. But that's kind of that. So that's it for today. These are the new tattoos I got. Now, the next ones I'm gonna get it's going to be in January. It's going to be on the back of my thighs, and it's going to be super. So one side is going to be Tempus Edax Head Radum, which is translates to you know, time that devours, and it's going to be kind of like these ruins with this, you know, man looking at them. It's kind of like based on that painting. I don't remember the name of it, but you know, like, it's a pretty famous one. And you know, like, that was the image. The first time I saw it was in The Last Man by Mary Shelley. Like, the version I had was that image, and it really stayed with me. And it stayed with me. And it's going to be that, and then the other side is going to be supervivum, which is Latin for you know, you can translate it different ways, but the translation that I'm like attached to is I will survive. And then, you know, the images I have, there's just like different versions of people kind of like being enlightened, you know, and that involves them like they're just waking up. So, but you know, like, I gave the artist kind of like full kind of like freedom to kind of like, you know, like, interpret the images as, you know, he pleases, because, you know, so far I have like a bunch of tattoos from like these two other artists, and I really trust his work, and you know, like, most of the tattoos you see on me, they're from him. But yeah, so that's it for today. Bye.